I'm 94 years old, and I've lived through a kind of fear most people will never experience. War, freezing cold, watching men die beside me. But here's what surprises people. The anxiety that came after the war was harder to live with than the war itself. So if your mind won't stop worrying, I want to share what actually helped me survive it. You see, fear has a way of following you. Mine started a long time ago. Winter 1950 in North Korea. A place called the Chosin Reservoir, 30 degrees below zero. Snow blowing so hard, it felt like knives hitting your face. Chinese soldiers coming down the mountains in waves, men dying all around me. Some from bullets, some simply froze where they stood. And one night, I watched my best friend bleed out into the snow because we couldn't reach a medic in time. So yes, I know something about fear, and if a man can live through something like that and still find peace later in life, then maybe I've got a few things worth sharing. When I came home in 1953, the war didn't stay in Korea. It came home with me. I couldn't sleep, maybe an hour at a time. Then I'd wake up sweating, heart racing. Every loud noise felt like incoming fire. A truck backfiring, a door slamming. Sometimes I'd hit the floor before I even knew what happened. I was angry all the time. Drank more than I should have. Picked fights that made no sense. My hands shook sometimes so badly I couldn't even hold a coffee cup steady. Back then, they didn't have a name for it. Nobody said PTSD. They called it bad nerves. And the advice people gave you was simple. Man up. Get over it. Stop worrying. I tried that. Doesn't work. You can't decide to stop anxiety any more than you can decide to stop bleeding. Fear doesn't listen to orders. And what I discovered next changed the way I understood anxiety for the rest of my life. The first thing I learned took me about 15 years to understand. Fear doesn't just live in your thoughts. It lives in your body, in your shoulders, in your chest, in your gut, in the muscles you didn't even know were tense. When my anxiety was at its worst, the only time I felt even a little peace was when I was working so hard my body was exhausted. I remember fixing a broken fence behind the barn one evening, sun going down, air smelled like sawdust and dirt, and for the first time all day, my mind went quiet. Not because my problems were gone, but because my body was finally doing something with all that fear. That's when I realized something. Fear hates movement. When you sit still and think about it, fear grows. When you move, it burns off. You don't need a gym, you need motion. Split wood, dig a garden, walk down the road, fix something broken. Your body can carry part of the burden your mind has been holding alone. But that wasn't the biggest mistake I was making. This next one almost kept me trapped for years. Here's another truth that took me years to understand. Anxiety almost never lives in the present. It lives in the future. Think about it. What are you worrying about right now? Something that might happen tomorrow, next week, next year? Your mind starts building disasters that don't even exist yet. I spent years lying awake, imagining every possible thing that could go wrong in my life. Losing my job, something happening to my family, everything falling apart. You know what I discovered after a while? Most of those things never happened, not even close. But the suffering I created worrying about them, that part was very real. Eventually, I started asking myself one simple question when anxiety hit. Is there a real problem right now? Not tomorrow, not next month, right now. And most of the time, the answer was no. The danger existed in my imagination, not in my life. Preparing for problems is useful. Worrying about them isn't. Preparing feels like action. Worrying feels like drowning. And this is where anxiety becomes dangerous, because it slowly pulls you away from real life. Your fears, your worries, your what-ifs, round and round, like a dog chasing its own tail. The person who first taught me how to break that cycle was my wife, Martha. When she saw my mind spiraling, she would send me somewhere, check on a neighbor, fix a fence, carry groceries, deliver eggs to an older couple down the road. At first, I thought she was just keeping me busy, but after a while, I noticed something. When you're helping someone else, your mind finally stops staring at itself. One afternoon, I helped an old widow fix a broken gate on her farm. When I finished, she looked at me and said something I've never forgotten. "I'm glad you came today. I hadn't spoken to another person all day." And in that moment, my problem suddenly felt very small. Helping her helped me more than she ever knew. Sometimes the fastest way out of your own anxiety is to stop thinking about yourself for a little while. But there was one lesson I fought the hardest, and it took me years to finally accept it. Here's another hard truth. Some things in life cannot be fixed, no matter how much you worry about them. I watched good men die in Korea, men braver than me. There was nothing I could do about it then, and there's nothing I can do about it now. But for years I carried that guilt anyway, as if worrying about the past could somehow rewrite it. It can't. Worrying about something you can't control is like trying to push a river. You can exhaust yourself trying, but the river isn't going anywhere. Learning to let go of what you cannot control is one of the hardest lessons in life, and one of the most freeing. And when I finally understood this next idea, everything started to feel a little lighter. I couldn't carry all that fear alone. The weight was too heavy. For me, faith helped. Believing there was something bigger than myself, something strong enough to carry what I couldn't. I'm not here to preach to anyone, but I will say this: trying to carry the whole world by yourself will eventually break you. But even then, anxiety didn't disappear. This is what helped me live with it every single day. I wake up at 5 every morning, have for most of my life. Coffee, sunrise, a short walk, same order, every day. When your mind feels chaotic, routine gives it something steady to hold on to. You don't have to think, you just follow the rhythm of the day. And that small sense of order makes the storm in your head a little quieter. And after all these years, this is the one thing I want you to remember. I'm 94 years old now, and anxiety never disappeared completely. Some nights I still wake up remembering that cold Korean snow, but it doesn't run my life anymore. I run my life. If you're struggling with anxiety right now, I want you to hear something. It gets better. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become stronger than the fear. You learn what helps. You build a life that can carry the weight. So today, step outside for a little while. Take a walk. Move your body. Help someone. Focus on today, not tomorrow. Your worries will still be there when you get back, but they might feel just a little smaller. And that's how you defeat anxiety. Not all at once, just a little smaller every single day.